So I think we're ready. We're good to go.
All right. With that, as long as we can all hear each other, let's get going. Just wanted to welcome everyone to the Liquor Agent DSSC kickoff. DSSC is Distilled Spirit Supply Chain. My name is Lisa Bertram. I'm the Distilled Spirits Director for the ULCC. In the room today, we have Connie Yeager with ULCC, Christy Scott, our CIO, Brian Aker, our interim assistant, and Eric Skirvin from Accenture. And with that, we do have a deck that we're going to go through. If someone, am I pulling that up, or Christy, are you pulling that up?
Going to do it.
Okay, perfect. So if we can go ahead and pull up the deck. Really, the goal of this meeting is to bring all the agents together, provide some information on what DSSC is and how it's going to impact you and your business, provide some information on some questions that we've received, and hopefully, provide you with the answers to questions that you may have. So we're going to go through the deck. At the end of the deck, we have an FAQ of questions that we have received, and we'll provide those. And then at the end of the meeting, there'll be kind of an open forum for those online. If you have questions, or you can raise your hand or put them in the chat. We will try to get to as many of those as possible. If we don't get it during the slide deck, for sure at the end, we'll address all the questions. So again, this is really a forum for you all, for us to be able to provide to you kind of what DSSC is and how we're going to get it off the ground, how it's going to benefit you and your business. So with that, if you go to the next slide, maybe. So presenters that we have today, I've kind of talked a little bit about folks in the room. We'll also have Accenture is our business partner. So Accenture is really going to be implementing the solution. So with Accenture, we have Eric Skirvin. We also have Whitney Mam. Eric Skirvin is our program manager, project director. And then Whitney Mam is our project manager. Oh my. Okay, so with that,
we have an agenda.
Yep, this is kind of clicking through really quickly. I'm not sure what's going on with it.
Yeah, it's kind of glitchy. Would it be okay if I just shared it from my screen?
I could share as well.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay. Yep, hold on here. Let me pull it up. Just so we can get this going here.
While we're waiting, did I tell you that we have really cute umbrella straws? Dollar Tree. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then if someone could let me know if you can see that okay.
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go through here. Like I said, this is really our chance to get in front of you all, and provide information. So today, real short agenda. We'll go through the slide deck, welcome and intro. We're going to talk about the project, an overview of what it is, again, how it's going to impact you, and the schedule. I know there's a lot of questions about like, when is this going to go live? Where am I going to be at in that? We're going to talk about some frequently asked questions. Those are going to be at the end, and then we'll have an open Q&A session at the end. So with that, I'm actually going to turn it over to Eric, and he's going to go through a little bit of this and then come back to me at the end. So Eric, take it away.
Awesome. Can you hear me okay, Lisa, or do I need to turn my mic on from where I'm sitting?
I can hear you okay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm going to walk through just kind of high level what the large project is that OLCC is undertaking. And like Lisa said, kind of focus that a little bit more towards how that applies to you guys here in the liquor space. So if you can go to the next slide, Lisa, that would be fantastic.
Hey, Eric, before we get too far, do you want to tell these folks how many times you've implemented a similar system in other states?
Sure. Myself, this will be my fifth liquor control state having implemented Dynamics 365. That's what OLCC is implementing here. On our project team, everyone on our project team has been through at least one, if not multiple, liquor control state implementations themselves. So our team has done this in several other control states, implementing this same solution within each of those various states that we've been in. So
It's 9 total?
Oregon will be 10 total.
10 total.
On half of them. So got a little bit of experience in the liquor control state space. So as Lisa kind of talked about the DSSC project and kind of what all this means, it's way bigger than just a point of sale system that's taking place here for OLCC. They're doing a modernization of the ERP system, same for the warehouse management system, and obviously in the retail space with the point of sale. Again, D365, Microsoft D365, that's the application and platform that's being implemented. It's a cloud-based solution. It's a single unified business platform, meaning everything is going to be in a pretty real-time visibility for things across the supply chain here, whether that be in the ERP side, on the warehouse side, or even in the point of sale. If you can go to the next slide, please. It's kind of like I was saying, is D365 being a unified single platform, meaning there are multiple modules within the ERP, warehouse being one, financials, retail point of sale being one, all of it kind of playing in the same sandbox, so to speak. So again, that real-time visibility is one of the key benefits to leveraging an application like D365. As you can kind of see here in the picture, it allows that inventory visibility and just data, for the lack of a better way to kind of say it, to be visible, whether that be being able to see on-hand inventory in the stores, what may be there in the warehouse, all the way up to suppliers, having purchase orders and things like that communicated and visible, where certain statuses are in things, due dates of things, where shipments are in the process. All of that is kind of visible all in the same system. We're not having to sign into different systems to see different things. Everything's kind of visible there in the one unified platform. Obviously, with security and user roles and things, that can be very restricted into what visibility specific users have. So it's not like everybody's going to see everything across the board. But within D365, that visibility and lens is there. Next slide, please. We're going to talk a little bit about what ERP is, what WMS is, what point of sale, some of the things that are coming at value to OLCC as part of this implementation. So when we talk modernizing the ERP system, what we're talking about is the system that's kind of storing some of the data for financials, is product management, product attributes, barcodes, pricing, all of that is kind of housed here in the ERP system. Procurement, being able to put in purchase orders and communicate with various suppliers and receive that inventory in. And then order management, whether that be like a sales order for a specific licensee or a customer, or transfer orders, the terminology in D365 for shipments going from the warehouse to the actual retail stores there. So these are just kind of a few of the things that are in the ERP system from a warehouse perspective. On the next slide there, again, some of the key values and benefits that we're getting here. It's all inside the same system. There's a full-blown Tier 1 WMS system included, built with integrations to conveyor systems, mobile device applications, all communicating.
Can we maybe mute the person who just joined?
We're good? All
I
right.
think so, yeah.
Perfect. So order fulfillment, being able to get orders in either from stores or customers, seeing those in the warehouse system, being able to process those in the warehouse system all the way through. Again, inventory is going to be pretty near real time across the board. So as product is received in, inventory levels get updated. As product is shipped out, inventory levels get decremented. You can see that all through the warehouse system as well as in the point of sale systems that we'll talk about on some upcoming slides here. As part of this, we're also going to have some portals for the actual suppliers to communicate with OLCC, mainly going to be used for like product management and that type of thing. New products that may be available to be distributed within the state. Getting those added to the catalog and some price changes, things like that. All of that will be handled online with portals. And then some freight carrier management will be included there as well, with communicating with the actual carriers that'll be distributing product, out to the stores and things like that. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit about you guys specifically and kind of what this is from a retail perspective. One of the things we're going to have is a retail dashboard, right? So liquor agents can sign into the dashboard. You'll be able to see information about your store. You'll be able to see some store history there. Alerts and things will get communicated out to the portal for each of your sign-ons. Ability to kind of upload documents and things like that there. There'll be some reports available to kind of see like, KPIs and sales and things like that. There'll be a whole bunch of things that will be provided and have access to on this agent dashboard that will come as part of the implementation here. Obviously, for any orders that you need to place with OLCC to have product sent to your stores, all of that will be available as well, either through the point of sale or through the back office functionality, that you'll be able to place those orders and they'll come to the OLCC warehouse system in a real-time fashion. From a daily sales perspective, I know currently you guys send that on a daily basis. As you get migrated onto the D365 point of sale, again, kind of all in one unified platform, those sales orders are visible real time in the system. So as a cash and carry customer such as myself would come in and buy and purchase something, those retail transactions are visible right then and there in the point of sale as well as in the back office. Licensee sales as well. So it's all real time. You will not need to send things daily. Once you get migrated onto the D365 system, it will already be communicating with everything else in a real time fashion. Claims, transfers, returns, again, just kind of calling out some of the same functionality that exists in today's world will also exist in the new world as well. So the ability to do, cycle counts and receiving, that type of stuff, process returns, all of that is also still available and going to be a function and a process that's accounted for from a retail perspective.
And no paper.
And no paper, except for receipts. We will have receipts. As far as other things to look forward to, there will be an online portal available to licensees and bars to place their orders. So they can place their order online directly for specific stores that they want to pick that product up at. So for you guys, as soon as that order is placed and it shows up in the system, it would also show up in the point of sale. So you'd have real-time visibility to, here's the orders that people are trying to come in to plan to pick up in your store today. You'll have visibility to that. You can process all of that right there on the point of sale and kind of have it queued up in a holding area, if you will, so that as they come in, you've already got the product kind of sitting and ready for them to pick it up and then just pay for it at that point in time. But there'll be a portal that gives them visibility to place orders that will in real-time fashion show up in the point of sale for you guys to have that visibility as well. Next slide here. Go back one. Four. All right.
This is.
There we
There
go.
we go.
Oh. Teams is
Yeah.
not working today.
This is the next one.
The credit cards?
Yep.
All right. So credit card processing. Credit card processing is obviously going to be available as part of the project as well. One of the slides that we'll be looking at here in a moment and kind of talking about as well is some of the hardware that's going to be available to you guys as part of the rollout. That will include a new credit card machine for Elevon credit card processing. So some stores will operate same as they do today, just with an upgraded credit card device. And then some stores may have two credit card machines, one for liquor sales, and then some for more general goods and things, more for like the what am I trying to say? Like the sorry,
Like related goods.
Yeah, like more like the rural
rural
stores.
rural
Or
store.
more like a general goods, like a hardware pharmacy with some liquor. So not the full liquor stores.
Yeah.
Angie, do you want to address this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Machines are like a hardware store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or pharmacy.
Yeah, the majority will operate same as today, just upgraded technology.
If we get questions in the room, can you repeat them? Because we can't hear anybody else except for the table, I believe.
Thank you. The question was, if does beer and wine count as having a separate credit card machine? And Angie's answer was, no, beer and wine would fall in the top one, but the bottom example is more for like if you're primarily a hardware store and you sell a selection of spirits, then that would be the two credit card machines. And it wouldn't be a change from what they're doing currently.
Thank you.
He said,
Please.
yeah, I'm not sure if you heard, he's ready for the next one.
Whoops, there we go.
All right. So from a hardware perspective, all kinds of new toys and hardware coming as part of the implementation here as well. What we've kind of got listed here is just a quick high-level overview of what the actual point-of-sale hardware is. So it'll be a new Dell point-of-sale, all-encompassing retail PC. Complete with cash drawer, new credit card processors that we were talking about, new label printers, new printers for receipts. There'll be some new barcode scanners as well. I know that there's some more detail and things on some of the FAQs around this as well, but this is the hardware that will be coming as part of the implementation as it relates to a point of sale terminal itself. So,
And I think, did I hear a question? What is the scanner? Yeah. Yeah, so it'd be, do they all have to be scanned with the, every barcode has to be scanned with the scanner, the handheld scanner, Eric?
yeah, George, are you out there, George?
I am, yes.
Regarding the point of sale hardware scanner, are all of them were the hand scanner, correct?
That's correct. I'm not quite sure I understood the question.
The question was for that scanner, if the users would need to pick up the gun to scan the barcodes every time, or if it was more of a stationary one that they could slide the barcode in front of and have it scanned as opposed to picking up the pistol grip.
It can also be set up in presentation mode, so that way they can wind the items. But you can also choose to pick it up.
Gotcha.
Both. There you go.
And for those on the call, George is from New West, so I'll be talking about New West here in a minute. He's one of our partners on the project. New West is helping with all the hardware rollouts, credit card processing, as well as trying to help with some of the actual retail support and cutover activities that we'll talk about in some upcoming slides. So if there's hardware questions and things, George is our go-to person.
Bless you.
So
Eric, there's a question in the chat about, are they touch screen?
Scanners.
The point of sale
So-
PCs, are they touchscreen?
So
Yes.
I think, yeah,
The
so Adam just
monitors.
clarified, he's asking about if the monitor is a touchscreen monitor, I believe for the PC.
Yes, it
Correct.
is.
yes.
The answer is yes.
Any other questions on the point of sale terminals?
Are there gonna be repeater screens on the other side opposing so the customers can see the point of sale happening?
Are there repeater screens on the other side so that the customer can see what's happening? Is the question.
The payment terminal is customer facing, and it has line item display. So as the items are being scanned, it will also display everything that is happening on the point of sale screen.
So it's dual sided?
The
Just faces the customer.
Just,
The middle item at the bottom.
yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Customers can run their own cards. That's the credit card system or the point of sale system also integrated into it?
integrated.
It'll be
Okay,
integrated.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So us as agents are gonna have to be required to purchase all this stuff again?
Can you hold on to that question until we get to the
Okay.
FAQs?
We'll get that
So the
at the
question,
end.
yeah, I don't know if you guys heard the question. The question was, are all the agents gonna have to purchase all of this? And so I asked her to hold on to the FAQs because we have that answer for you.
And then we've got Dan, you've got your hand raised online. Go ahead.
Yeah, probably the same response. I was going to ask who owns this equipment and would be responsible for maintenance and upkeep.
Yep, and we will discuss that at the end as well as part of that FAQ. All right.
All right.
Great.
Additional hardware will be a hand scanner within the stores for doing store receiving, cycle counts, things like that. This is a picture of the mobile device that will be used there with the pistol grip as kind of that option or a hand format if that's user's preference there. But this is also part of the hardware that would be coming with the new system and point of sale there. So there is a warehouse mobile app that would be installed on here. Again, it communicates real time with the system. So as things are received in on here or cycle counts are done or any type of inventory adjustments, things like that. It's all real time communicating and keeping inventory in sync in the system at all times there. Last, from a hardware perspective, there is an optional tablet hardware path forward here. It comes with a tablet and a mobile credit card reader. There's not one of those for everybody. I know that there's an optional purchase there, and I think it's also part of the Q&A that OLCC will kind of run through as we get into hardware, because there is a couple of Q&A things around hardware in general that's out there. So, but this is what the tablet would look like and what all would be included there with it. A durable padding and handle kind of around it. The terminal to process credit cards remotely, The point of sale app, the same thing that would be on the terminal itself, would be the same app that would be here on the tablet. So the look and feel as far as being on an actual terminal point of sale lane would be the same thing that you would see here on the tablet. Next slide. All right, so we've talked a little bit about things that are going to be happening and kind of coming with the new project. But I wanted to kind of shift gears to is kind of share some of the things that the OLCC team will be looking for to help make this project a success, and kind of more big ticket items for you guys to be aware of, because it's going to require you guys to kind of help participate in this effort. And the two big efforts are around data and store readiness. So I'll kind of jump into each one of these separately. So from a data perspective, we will need to be collecting non-distilled spirit item information. So the item master, the pricing information, the on-hand inventory. If there are suppliers that you're ordering that from, we'll need that information. Store employees for like logging into the point of sale. We'll need those usernames and things. We're not needing this information tomorrow. This will be kind of coming up over the next several months, but these are big ticket items that usually take a long time to kind of work through some of the data migration from current systems and into the new existing systems here. So wanted to give you guys as much heads up and notice as possible that this is going to be coming. Obviously, as we get closer to some of the dates that we'll need some of this information, that'll get communicated out to you guys. But just wanted to kind of share what's coming as far as needs and things to help make this be successful, and allow you guys to have all the things present that you need on the point of sale to receive and sell an inventory as you do in today's world, that you don't lose any of that functionality moving on to the new system here. Secondarily to that, our friends from the West. Sorry, was there a question?
We've got a couple hands up already here, potentially on this. So Dan, looks like your hand was up first.
Well, thank you. Hey, a couple, well, there's many agents that have 2 or more stores. Our current system is not synchronized for like item data that's not distilled spirits. As we migrate, will we be able to synchronize our master file data based on UPC? Meaning if my 2 stores have independent item numbers, but the same UPC, will the new 365 system designate a new item number?
I mean, we'll have the UPCs and item codes loaded in there. So if there's a scenario that had multiple UPCs for an item, if we saw a UPC that we were already aware of and familiar with and knew that item, we could make that correlation. But if we did not have the item and we just had 2 UPCs, somewhere along the way, we would need to know what the item code is associated with those UPCs to tie that out.
Right. So I think you're looking at my question from the wrong direction. I'm saying that I have the same item in 2 different stores and my item number is different, even though it's the same item. But when we migrate to 365, is it possible to merge the 2 store inventories so that both are speaking the same thing?
Yes. And that would be the preference as well, so that there's not multiple items of the same thing sitting out there in the system, that it's one unified item. So yes.
Right, and it'll be interesting to see how it works, considering that different agents have the same items but different item numbers. All of our systems are independent. And in some ways, it might be advantageous if we all had the same item numbers for the same item.
Correct. And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of wanting to share this up front and now, because I know data in and of itself. Everybody's independently owned and operated. This is going to be a pretty lengthy process to get some of this data into the system and working through that. So just trying to give as much heads up and runway as possible. It is not going to be a small undertaking to get this into the new system.
Any question? If somebody else in front, somebody else have a question?
There's another question online, yes. From Mark.
Mike, I think Michael, you're up next online here.
Yeah, my question was with that migration of the related items, are we going to be able to do that digitally? Like we could just create a file somehow in our existing POS system and transfer that stuff over, or is it going to be manually entering everything into a spreadsheet to send to you guys?
Ideally, it's the first option you said of having that data extracted and then us being able to load. That would obviously be the ideal path. If there's not abilities to extract things, we have to figure out other courses of action to get the system the data that it needs. We'll have to explore what those opportunities may look like.
Next questions. We've got right here first, though.
New agent, our store doesn't have the spirits locations on KMDS, and we were going to start implementing that so that it tells, first section, top shelf, vodka, whatever specific spirit flavor it is. We haven't started that knowing this transition's coming. Do you know if that will be extracted, the locations of each spirit on which shelf? If not, we're just gonna hold off on putting the locations of the bottles in the point of sale system.
The question was, will the shelf locations be extracted and moved into the new system?
No, they would not be.
But there will be the option to have your store mapped, right? Like in general, there will be a field saying, right, where you can create a new field saying, okay, we map all the liquor products within the store, even any product. I think that's something that the agents should use or need.
The question is, will there be an option to map the locations in the stores?
There's not a floor planner type of functionality in the new point of
Yeah,
sale.
we're not
But
trying to build planograms. It's just like, right, very simple. Like
Yeah.
You kind of said shelf 1, position 1, tee of shelf
if
1, second position, whatever.
Sure. If custom fields needed to be created to account for that, we can certainly work to do that. But just from a planning perspective, there's definitely not a floor planning function in the new point of sale.
What's nice of that is you have a rare bottle, doesn't sell very often. Customer asks if you have it, you look it up. It says we have it. We have one bottle maybe.
Yeah. But
if the system currently will tell you where it's at, section 5, third shelf up, fourth position over. If, and I'm just asking, obviously it doesn't transfer, but is that an option with the new system to load the location of the bottle?
We could find a place to put that information, yes.
And it's normally just a number, right? We just create a number for it. But coming back to the related item data, do I understand correctly, the OLCC will have access to my related item data and my on-hands and my sales numbers for the related?
I would like to take that question. So, so the question is, am I understanding it correct that the OLCC will have access to my related items data? So the way we're designing the system is that there will be a data partition. So we'll have the same access to your distilled spirits data that we have right now, but there will be a partition in the data set so that anybody who has to get in there for admin reasons, to do any sort of work on the database, they have to log into the system with specific credentials, write in the reason why they're going in there, which is auditable, and we could provide that to you guys through Oliver or whatever on a regular cadence so that you guys know when we're looking at it. One thing is, Oliver, I don't know if you've had a chance to bring this up yet. You have. Okay. So, oh, you haven't talked about it. Well, I am going to talk about it. Is that okay? So, one thing that we're working with Oliver and Marshall on is not OLCC's access to your non-distilled spirits data, but also getting an exemption in public records so that if anybody asks for your data, they can't get it. So just making that very clear that not only can we not go in and look at it, but no one else can ask for it.
So if you have two stores, kind of talking about related item data. First of all, right, it would be nice to not have to manage it twice, right? That would be very helpful. The other part would be more if I want to access, do I have, both stores access through the same portal, or would I have to be in each location, let's say?
No.
So it is.
On the portal, you'd see access to both your stores in that instance and the point of sale based on your permissions. If you wanted to see both your stores, you could. If employees were dedicated to just one store, then they would only see inventory and information within that one store.
Is there remote access as well?
For
Remote access to the system?
to the portal? The portal, yes.
Or if I wanted to go onto my
To
POS system from home, can I remote in any one of the terminals?
there is an application that you could download and look at, yes.
Thank you.
The ERP is cloud-based, so you can get into that via a link, a web link, and the portal's obviously a web-based thing as well that you could get into as well.
Hey, real quick, so for the related items for people with two stores, are those gonna be linked where they can see both and access both, or are they gonna be separated by store?
Question is about related items and if they can see those for both stores or if it'll be separated by store.
It's the latter. So you can see which specific store the inventory is sitting in, on hand specific in each store. But if you had store 1 and 2, when you logged into your portal, you could see information about store 1 and 2 in one place. When you logged into the point of sale, you're logged in specific to that store. But through the inventory visibility that you could have on the point of sale, again, through user access and security, it would be limited to where you could just see store 1 and inventory from store 2. But when you log into the point of sale, you're at a specific store only and location, and that's the default that you're going to see through all the lenses there.
We've got a couple questions online. Mark, you've had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So for those of us who have several stores, but not all of them are liquor, for example, we only have the one liquor store, but several other convenience stores. Since you're going to be moving this to a new point of sale and stuff and taking it out of my current system, how are we going to get data from this system back into my regular system so I can stay on top of that store?
What sort of data are you needing exported out of the current, like sent into the new, or from the new system into your current one?
Everything, sales, inventory.
So have a daily sales file sent from the current point of sale or from the new point of sale into your current system?
Well, I need to find some way to get that data, yes, whether it's via daily or whatever we do.
Yeah, an integration can get built to export that information if needed.
And what about like loyalty card information up here on the screen and stuff? How would I get my current loyalty system to merge with this and update on a regular basis?
We'd have to build some type of integration to account for that, or a way to get that updated in a as real-time fashion as possible.
One thing I don't think we talked about, and Lisa, you may have chatted about this with the agents before, but the intent of the point of sale and us including all the related items is for convenience for you guys, because we're giving you a new state-of-the-art point of sale, and it would be, it seems like it would be nice if you wanted to use it for your other stuff too, but you're not required to. So I want to make that distinction. You're not required to use it for your non-distilled spirits items. But we're designing it in such a way that you can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but nobody wants.
It
to run
is
two point of
required for,
sales.
right,
If you don't
right.
have
And
to.
that's right. And that's exactly why we're trying to make it easier for you to do both on one point of sale. But the question in the room was, is it required for distilled spirit sales? And the answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got another question. Adam, got your hand
Oh,
up?
wait, real quick, Lisa, there was
Yeah.
another question in the
Sorry.
room, which was, she thought that when it was originally pitched, it wasn't going to be required. As long as I've been part of this project, it's been required. FAQs. Yep. FAQs. We'll get there.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Adam. Go ahead, Adam. Yeah. Adam, are you there? Can't hear you. Maybe you can type in the chat. I can't hear you.
Question in the chat.
Um,
Lisa, there's will multi-store owners be able to transfer non-liquor items between stores as we can do on KDMS? Not to have to manually re-enter the transfer and invoice? Will we be able to remotely enter our store systems to write orders or checks on reports? VNC Viewer as an example.
yeah, so I think this is similar to one we've answered where, you will be able, Eric kind of touched on this as far as an integration between the two, as far as non-liquor items, you will be able to see both. As far as, and then we touched on, can you log in remotely? We kind of answered that one as well. Adam puts in, I use stocking report based on location. Will I be able to continue to use that feature that's in the KMDS system?
You know what that is?
I think that may be Jason's question with the location.
Right.
It's a
So that was
field
when we were
in our D1 screen. It's a field that it's, you can put like whiskey, and then and like every couple hours you can run that whiskey report to pull items from the back to fill the shelf.
Oh, so restock.
So it's a restocking thing,
Oh,
but
okay.
but by breaking it down by category, is
Yeah.
there a function? Does the system break the liquor down in categories?
As far as like whiskey, scotch, rums, things like that, yes.
And like you can break down for another like Irish whiskeys and bourbons, so just like,
For recent sales,
yeah,
Yes,
the last hour, the last.
yes,
okay.
yes. All of that for the distilled spirits will come as part of the item master that we're migrating over. It will have categories and subcategories under that to help with searching and finding things on the point of sale. You can see search by item, you can search by category, search by product. There's all kinds of different ways you can kind of navigate to find things.
And that'll be probably managed by OLCC, or it should be uploaded to the POS system, not, because currently we're manually doing it. It's not uploaded into our system, but I'm assuming that the new POS will be able to do that from warehouse to store.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those categories, as categories changed, adjusted, products added, products removed, all of that information would be managed by OLCC in the ERP, and it would get pushed down to the point of sales. And it would update instantly as it got pushed down to those point of sales. Same for pricing and all that type of stuff. anything that happens from the ERP. There's jobs that push it down at the point of sale, and as soon as that batch job is finished running, it's all visible right there on the point of sale.
There's another question in the chat. Will there be unit case master pack with automatic transfers?
Transfers as in store to store or from like the DC to the store? What kind of transfer are we
No,
talking
we
about?
would receive, for instance, one case of 12 bottles. So does the system track unit of measure or only individual bottles like the current system does?
Both. So we, as part of our item master, we would know there's 6 bottles in a case, so many cases on a pallet, so many cases in a layer. We would have all of that information in the point of sale system as part of the item master. From an inventory perspective, you would see it at the lowest unit of measure as far being a bottle. But you would see all the information to know how many bottles were in cases and things like that as well.
Okay, thank you.
I heard the word NABCA. We will be using NABCA item codes in the new system.
And descriptions, like category descriptions. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
And does NABCA have all their items in categories and subcategories?
I don't know.
Yes, yes. They
Oh, Lisa
absolutely
says
do.
yes.
Yes.
The site survey.
Did we answer Adam's question? I still see his
I
hand
think
up.
we did because he's in the chat here, so I think we've got Adam covered.
Okay.
Yep, all good.
The other thing I wanted to kind of call out here on this slide we haven't got to yet is kind of that bottom section, the site surveys. So I'd mentioned New West being our partner here as far as some of the retail readiness and hardware. One of the things that the New West team will be doing is coming out to each and every store and doing a site survey, looking at network connectivity, looking at bandwidth, that type of thing, looking at power drops and network drops, just to kind of get an idea of where the stores are currently with that. And then if there is any recommended improvements needed to support the new point of sale, all of that would come out in the site surveys. Those should be starting to take place in the next few upcoming weeks, which I believe that gets all communicated to each store independently, right? As far as when George's team will be visiting each location and things like that.
Yeah, they're still working on building out that schedule, I believe.
So if some people from New West come to your store and say they're doing a site survey, that's kind of what they're there to do, is just get an idea for the existing bandwidth, connectivity, throughput, and just try to get ahead of anything that might be needed to get updated along the way to account for the new point of sale coming in there. Yes.
If we are offline, how does that work?
There is full offline mode with the new point of sale system. So you will be able to continue to do your sales in an offline fashion. And then as soon as you're back online, that all gets communicated back up to the system there, and you'll see it all in the system beyond just that
Credit
that
card
register.
information
Yes.
maintained offline, because right now we're offline, you can't run a credit card.
Question was about credit cards too, and the answer is yes.
And yes.
A follow up on that. I have a store, not liquor store, but it's integrated. We run offline, comes back online. Some cards don't have the funds. What kind of safeguards do we have or will be implemented to? Because you can't verify
Right.
if the funds are available when you process the sale when you're
Correct.
offline there.
Yeah. George, are you still online here?
I am, sir.
Did you have a question?
I did. So what you can do is put some parameters to be able to mitigate your risk. So you could be able to cap the transaction amount if you have concerns of the transaction value. So you could be able to only take, transaction amounts of maybe up to $50 or whatever your risk threshold is. So that way you could at least mitigate it. And you can also cap the number of transactions per batch. So those are two parameters that are within your control. And then Elevate also caps the number of days you could be able to be offline, and that is 5 days. So those are the three essential limits that are within those boundaries. That way you can at least mitigate your risk there.
A new agent is who would be responsible for the spirits purchases if the transaction's not approved because the funds aren't there? Is that the individual agents or is that OLCC?
I'm looking at Angie.
Yeah, I would say it's the store's responsibility. You could probably call in and get a voice authorization for the transaction. Is that correct, George?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
My question is, can they choose to not take that risk and not operate their credit card machines when they're offline?
Correct.
They can take that choice.
Correct.
So if they choose to operate when they're offline, the agent will assume the risk of anything that doesn't go through.
Is there a backup to because in years past, we had dial-up backup. Now, I don't know, now will there be some sort of backup to if the system goes down? Like a secondary?
I have Comcast at several different stores, non-liquor, and they have a cellular backup. You pay $40 extra a month, and then it'll just automatically switch over again.
For those of you online, I just want to, Angie's in the back of the room and I don't know if everybody heard that, but she asked the question, does the agent have the option if their credit card machine is offline, do they have the option to not take credit cards? The answer to that is yes. So if the agent were to choose to continue taking credit cards while it was offline, then the risk is on the agent. Did I say that correctly? She's nodding yes.
And then Tracy just had a clarification too, that she says she has the Comcast backup and it works great, especially for the rural areas.
So real quick, so we're talking about the POS system. What about the rest of the workstations we have in our stores, like the peripherals or other computers? Because currently, like in my stores, we could have 3 to 4 different workstations other than the POS system. So are those available to purchase, or are they going to be provided?
Like manager PCs and things like that?
Yes.
I don't think those were on.
I don't think they were on the list.
Yeah.
Or just back office. When the load comes in, you check in the load right there in the back office because it's far away from our front office. We have to build item codes in there. I mean, that's something that our KMDS system supports at this time.
Is that available through the web app? So for example, so the functionality that they're talking about, is that available on the web app so they could use any PC to access it?
Yeah, I mean, any PC can access the D365.
With scanning capabilities as well.
Scanning capabilities would be on the mobile device scanner that we looked at a couple slides ago. You'd be able to do all the scanning on that and it communicates with system real time there. So again, these are kind of the two big ticket items where you guys will have pretty heavy involvement in as far as needing to get some of the data into the system so you can function on the new point of sale as you guys do today, as well as making sure that any networking and connectivity and things like that are where they need to be to support the system, so you don't have performance issues and things like that happening at the store, or stuff spinning as you're trying to ring things up, stuff like that. Next slide. All right, the last couple slides I'm going to talk about are around kind of timeline here, and then we'll get to the FAQs that we've been talking about. From a timeline perspective, this is kind of the high level timeline to look out into the future with. We are currently exiting the planning phase and beginning the design phase right now. That's kind of where we're at in this particular process. As we go forward in the design and implement phases, we will have test pilot events and things like that where we will be going through all the various processes with the new system, all the portals and things being active, all of the point of sales being active, the ERP functions, the warehouse management functions, going through and testing all of those processes to make sure things are working and how we need them to be. All those data migration efforts that I was kind of talking about in that prior slide, all of that's really going to fall in that implement window. So that's kind of where some of those major data lifting activities are going to fall. As we exit kind of the fall and into the spring, there will be user training that will be included as part of the process here. So for you guys specifically, it would be training on the point of sale system, how to use it, how to navigate, sign in, all of those types of things. There'll be some user training and things. Go live in this particular instance. What that means is that is more for OLCC. That would be the ERP going live, the warehouse management system going live, all of the portals going live. And then there will be 2 pilot retail stores that will be going live, all at that one go live event. Everybody else, we will have an integration built to the existing point of sale systems into D365. So as you kind of do your daily sales and monthly sales and those transactions in today's world, that'll just feed into D365 via an integration. After we kind of reach a stabilization period post the go live, that's when we'll start to hit the liquor store rollouts. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means and kind of how that impacts you guys on the next slide. But that event, the liquor store rollout, that's going to be spanning a couple of months there over the spring and into the fall. Kind of in parallel, more again on the OLCC side, they're opening a new Canby warehouse. So the plan right now is to go live here with the existing warehouse. And then as soon as the new warehouse is built and operational and the conveyors in there, we'll move all the product from here over into that one, and we'll start using that warehouse management system. So that's kind of running in a little parallel work stream to things, but that's kind of where it's fallen on the overall timeline here. And then as we go forward, after all of the stores are converted and after, all the new applications are live, the ERP, the warehouse management system, portals, et cetera, there is an ongoing support contract that OLCC has with Accenture and our partners to help support any ongoing activities that take place. So for the go live events, there is a help desk, a call-in number that'll be provided and things. So if you run into issues or need some help or assistance, there's a number that can call. They'll be able to either help you resolve that on the call or route you to the proper resource to resolve that. So if it's a hardware issue, perhaps it's something that George and his team at New West helps with. If it's a functionality issue, perhaps it's something that us on the Accenture side take place. But there's an ongoing support for the entire system, point of sale included, that spans several years, even beyond the end of the implementation. So there will be a help desk and a hotline and things like that, if you will, to enter those support tickets and get help. That'll be out there as well. Next slide, please. So on the retail rollouts, basically, this is a very high-level tentative plan right now for the retail store rollouts. So as I was mentioning a minute ago, when we go live day one, there's only going to be a couple of stores that go live on the new point of sale. Everybody else will operate in their existing system as they do today. It will not be a big bang where everybody's going live on the new system all at once. Each store will get assigned a retail group, And each group will have a corresponding time on a calendar of when that specific store will get rolled out. So we've started some pre-planning activities with OLCC. They will communicate all of that with you guys as well. So it will come out which group, your stores are falling into, what days specifically your store would be cut over and live to use the new system. All of that will kind of get communicated as we go forward, but that's essentially what this retail store rollout means is as we go forward. So many stores per week will come online. So each day, what will happen is either at the end of your shift, when you've closed out your end of day process in the existing system, or early in the morning before the store opens, one of those two, we can figure out the window there. But what will happen is the new point of sale hardware would come into the store. The New West team and George would kind of help get all that stood up and functioning and processing. We do some sample tests just to make sure that it's working, it's online, it's communicating. We can ring up a credit card thing and see it work and see everything function through. We can print receipts. Folks would be there to kind of help assist to get things off the ground for you that day. And then we'd move on to the next stores the next day. So it's kind of a rolling schedule there. But there'll be folks that would be there to help put the new hardware in place, kind of help get things going and off the ground for you operations wise that day. And then again, we've got that help desk I was talking about that's going to be available as well. So if there's any issues that came up along the way, a couple days past go live or 2 months after your store's live, you can always call that number and somebody will be there to kind of help answer and field your questions for you as they come in. So again, where each store falls in the rollout plan, that detail will come out as we get a little further into the project, but this is kind of the going in approach of the number of groupings of stores and kind of where they're going to fall from a calendar perspective. Certainly there's sensitive days on the calendar to avoid, holidays, things like that. All of that is getting taken into account for the rollout. We know that there's certain regions and stores that probably need to get prioritized first, busy seasons and things. All of that's going to be factored into this plan. It's not just going to be looking at a piece of paper and saying, here's where things fall. There'll definitely be some planning and some method to the madness, so to speak, as to where stores fall within the plan there. Yes.
Okay, well, installation, will it happen before, like during store hours or before or after stores are open or closed? And two, employee training. Is that going to be, are we going to be able to train our employees as a group, or is it going to be individualized training, like up to us to?
Gotcha. So question one, typically it's off hours that the new hardware and stuff is swapped out. But if you have maybe 4 or 5 lanes in your store and you want to start doing like 1 lane at a time, something like that, while they're operational, we can kind of work around what that schedule needs to be. But typically it's when you're not transacting and doing business hours and things like that. As it relates to the training, yes, all liquor store employees will get trained on the new system. So specifically for the non-pilot stores, about 2 to 3 weeks before your store would come online is when the training would start for your store, so that you're kind of getting the training real time leading up to the go live of your particular store. So there will be training that'll be happening as it gets much closer. So it's not we're going to train you in September and your store goes live in July. It'll be that schedule takes into account when we need to kick off the training for each store as well.
There are going to be a series of like standard operating procedures written into or accessible someplace.
Yes. There will be on training guides, pictures, all the above. Whole big training operational work stream will be taken into account there as well. And that will be ongoing as well. So if any changes happen along the way, maybe a process changes and new procedures come up, that'll always be kind of continuously updated as well. I think the next couple slides where we actually hit the FAQs, and Lisa and the OLCC team will kind of run through these. These are some of the quick heavy hitters from an FAQ perspective. And then towards the end, we can open it up to a little bit more Q&A as well. So with that, I will hand it over to Lisa and Brian to run through the FAQs.
Great, thank you, Eric. So really question one, that's the big one, was what POS equipment are agents getting? You know, and then we also heard, you know, do they have to pay for it? So really, you know, OLC is giving out one of those POS packages, right? That includes all of, you know, the scanner and the PC to every agent. So each store will get a package of that essentially for free to use in your store. Some of the agents we heard, we actually getting a couple sets of those. So if you have more than one register, you can get up to 2 of those. Anything beyond that, then, you know, you'd have to purchase a la carte off of that load. So just to reiterate, everyone is getting at least one of those packages for your POS that includes all of that hardware equipment. To go back into that, right, I'm not going to read this entire slide, but it is all of those things that we talked about before. We talked about the hardware pretty exclusively up top. There's also software. So the software is going to be that back office D365. So one license for each store per liquor store agent. There's also the mobile device for manager software that's going to be included. So you will be able to, you know, get your entire package of POS equipment and also run it at least one per store. There was additional equipment that we talked about. So again, each store is going to get one. Some are going to get 2. There is an option to purchase more equipment, and we'll get a little bit into that farther down. But this really just talks about like the different things that can be, you know, purchased. Some of the different things that are going to come with that as we roll through this. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I think it's important to note that. And we'll talk about this too, the hardware itself is going to have a warranty on it. There's an FAQ on that as well, but we'll get to that as well. What can agents buy a la carte? So we have a large spreadsheet of different items that are on there. One of those items that we talked about previously was the tablet. That's not something we're providing to everyone, but something that can be purchased a la carte off that list. With that tablet, you know, there's going to be a support plan that's going to be needed. So there is going to be some additional costs to that as well. And we'll make sure that's transparent. Everything is on this list. We'll also ensure that this list gets out to all the agents so you can see it. If you don't already have it, we'll make sure it gets out to everyone so you can review not just the items that are on that, but also the cost associated with those. If you decide that's what you want to have for your stores. I also mentioned that each store would have one license for D365. If you want additional licenses, those can be purchased separately as well. So if you have, you know, multiple store managers and you want to each have a different license, we can set that up as well. Everyone will get one for sure. And then if you want additional licenses, those can be purchased separately. If there are any questions in the room, if someone could just like give me a hand signal.
We have a question.
Can't hear. Okay, great. Thank you.
Was store volume consideration for how many units each store would get?
Yeah, so we did and Brian, you might have to help me with this one. We did a survey at least a year ago. And so, you know, we do know what stores need more than one device, and that's on that listing. I believe we're doing another survey that's in flight right now that kind of answers some of the same questions. So yeah, that was one of the things we looked at from that previous survey.
That survey was, I think, last July, roughly. And that is information from that survey was given to Accenture and I think in September as an initial look at the hardware requirements. And then the survey that we're just wrapping up right now, that was additional clarifying questions that Accenture needed. to plan out the rollout phase as well. And yes, store volume was taken into account for that as too. Another question.
I have a question. So the OLCC is providing either one or two, units free of charge, like POS systems. And those are just specifically basically for the front, for checking people out or for putting in licensee orders or whatnot. But as far as for a back office computer, that will just be a separate license of the POS system.
Yeah,
to
for that
install on just any laptop or desktop PC we wanted, or will we have to buy the physical hardware unit from you guys to run that software in the back?
No, you do not have to buy additional hardware or software for a manager PC.
Okay.
You would just sign in to D365 via the web URL, and you'd be able to get in there and access that way. Yeah. So if you've got a computer with internet, you can get into D365.
So we can basically turn any computer or laptop into a remote workstation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Question. So on the survey y'all sent out, it was the POS licensee for all your employees and then the agent license to do all the other. And it said you could have multiple people on one license
That's for the POS
for the POS.
customer transactions.
Right.
The back office is one license for the agent, and then if you have a manager, you can buy an additional license for that person, or if you have multiple people, because you have to have that license, and it's kind of a control point for inventory control.
Right.
You don't want anybody just logging in and making inventory transactions, so it gives you a chance to control who that person is.
So my question on that was licensee, it said licensee information was limited to the agent.
Correct. Unless you have another license for a manager.
Right, but so in my store, all of my employees do licensee accounts. Depends on who answers the phone or who picks up the email. So when you're a big licensee store and you have multiple employees who deal with licensees, not just the agent, why would you limit that to one person?
So maybe there's a license, so we need to have a definition, license versus users. Can one license have multiple users? Like, can we have like 6 or 7 users on one license?
We had that question in the sessions, and it was recommended not to.
CIO, take this
Yes.
question.
Thank you, Christy.
So it is, from a security perspective, you really don't want people using the same login, because let's say you have a staff person who's new and they're not quite sure what they're doing and they go in and mess something up. You want to be able to have an audit ability to go back and find out who did it and have a training opportunity with them. Or likewise, if someone were to be stealing, I don't want to say that that's like the worst case scenario, but if someone were stealing, you want to be able to go back and track that too. So by everyone using the same login, you can't track that. Mm-hmm.
User ID, one PMDS license.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we can put, enclose certain numbers or certain people out of certain things. And I think that's a security function of our current POS system.
Yeah.
Now, if we're required to pay extra for multiple licenses or multiple employees, that are trying to be productive in the store, it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So I mean, if we have 5 associates or 3 associates that are doing licensee accounts or filling bar orders, they should have the ability as a user to use that one license.
Well, is the licensee sales separate from the POS? Isn't it part of the POS system though? So in other words, if you had somebody that was working the registers, they could just as well do a licensee sale as they would do a cash and carry.
Correct.
Correct.
Any transaction on the point of sale, whether it's a cash and carry or a licensee, all of that happens on the actual point of sale device itself.
And any user can do that.
Any user can do that.
Which users you do that?
Yes.
As far as like what they sell?
Like if I have a new person and I don't want them transferring or running licensee sales.
You could set their cashiers,
Permission.
right?
Permission.
Yeah.
Permissions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still the same.
But I think what you're asking, Oliver, is you have your stores and you have a manager at each store, and you want to give the manager at each store the same access to the back end that you have. And I think that's where it would be your choice if you wanted to share your login with them, or if you wanted to purchase a license to give them their own. From a security perspective, I would recommend doing the latter. But what we can do, I just made a note of it. We can find out how much an additional license is. That would help you guys make that decision.
What that license allows you to do would make a difference whether or not we buy that.
That would be different from what's already available in
It
the
was-
POS.
It was my understanding it was
It's in the survey.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, for
It was inventory
Okay.
management transactions had to have that back office license. But
we'll
selling.
do some more looking into
So
it.
we'll get some clarification on this one. And there are going to be more questions too that we don't have all the answers to. And so we will get clarification on this and provide this information back to you all. Really the point of the back office is that kind of high level functionality where you wouldn't want all your users to have it. But yeah, we'll get some clarification and provide these answers back out.
Yeah, good questions.
There's someone, Mike, you've got your hand, or Michael, you've got your hand up online. Go ahead.
Yeah, so do you, because we currently have 3 registers, and probably by the time this rolls out, we might even need to move up to 4. So do you have a cost breakdown for the additional POS systems? And then also, is it possible to run 2 cash drawers off of 1 register so that we can have 2 users on the same one with separate cash drawers at the same time?
So one, yes, the spreadsheet we have that we'll send out to you does have all of the equipment and their pricing. So you'll be able to tell that. I'm not sure on the second question, but could you clarify that? So what you're asking is to have 1 cash drawer or 2 cash drawers?
So 2 cash drawers, a lot of agents do this, have 2 cash drawers on 1 register so that you can run 2 different employees on that same register, but have them have separate cash boxes so that their tills can be, they can be accountable to their own till that way.
Mm-hmm.
Julie,
I'm
are
not
you out there?
Yeah, I can take that. That is a possibility. You just obviously need to purchase those cash drawers or however many you need. But yeah, we can work through that.
Bill?
Is it just a standard cash drawer that sends through a regular cable that like you can buy any cash drawer now that's released by the receipt machine? Because most people have those cash drawers already.
George,
If it's not a proprietary cash drawer.
George, you still there?
I am, yes,
Did you hear that question?
I did. Yeah, so yeah, it'll work with any electronic cash drawer.
Thank you.
Question. On the KMDS, does it have that option of A, B, so you can do that?
Yes.
Will this new system integrate where the Visa amount that comes up so that we don't have to worry about employees making mistakes and putting in the amount, it'll automatically go to the Visa machine?
Yes, it's integrated.
Yes.
Angela?
I think on the survey, we were quoted $44 for an additional license. If we do purchase additional licenses, is there any sort of price protection so that it doesn't keep climbing, doubling each year?
So we have an FAQ on that.
So I'll get to that
Oh,
one. Yeah, good question.
That's a good question.
We've got one more hand up online. Rafi, if I've said that correctly. Rafi. Go ahead. You're muted. Not getting your question, but if you can't unmute, you could also type it in the chat.
And I think we had one more in the building.
Two questions. One question is, we got another store like a year ago. I bought all new POS stuff, nice scanners, cash drawers, new screens, new computers. They go to the dump, or what are we doing with those, right? Not sure what to do with those. That's one question. Probably don't have an answer for that one. Second question is, as I understand that, right, Dynamics and also the POS system, it's a Dell, it's just a regular PC running Microsoft, or is it, right, I don't want to pay for antivirus. Oh, Microsoft is updating. Oh, I have to get the newest version of Microsoft, otherwise I'm vulnerable, right? So that's kind of the questions around that POS part about, right, is that, how does that look like? The actual, right, hardware, is that just running Microsoft operating system, or?
George, can you hear that?
I did. Well, part of the premise of having unified applications and unified machines is the standardization, so we could be able to manage them in a unified way. Naturally, all these machines are going to be identical, which allows us to be able to support them simply and run updates in a unified way. So there is a simplicity in the way we support them. It's not to say that the application can run on any Windows 11 machine. It can. So if you had another machine that you had, just like you mentioned, purchased fairly recently, by all means, you could be able to use that as an additional register. So you could be able to leverage that investment that you made.
So on the operating system, right, that you don't have to worry about it running what kind of version of Microsoft. It will just be all managed, as I hear that.
Well, I want to point out that there's two different pieces of hardware, right? So there's the Dell all-in-one that we'll be providing, and that's what George is talking about, that George's team will push the updates. So you're not going to have to worry about doing any updates to that, because that's going to come from George's team. But then there's also whatever your personal PC is that you're using for like the web application. We won't be pushing anything to that PC. Right. And I think they can even access it off their phone, right?
I mean, there are limited features you can see. I wouldn't say you could operate your business off of.
The point of sale stuff, like hardware package that we get one of, will the software be compatible with existing label makers, scanners, etc.?
You're going to get a label maker and a scanner. Mm-hmm.
System that I'm being forced to use. I don't understand why I'm having to eat the cost of everything I've already purchased, and then I'm going to have to purchase more on top of it, plus an annual licensing fee.
George, were you able to hear that question about if label printers and scanners that they have already, will they be able to work with the system?
It's difficult to obviously answer that question without necessarily knowing the make and model. But generally, the system is very adaptable to most label printers that are out there. So depending on the brand, we could be able to obviously vet them and be able to provide some confirmations of what's compatible. But most of the brands that are generally used, we oftentimes find that they're compatible. But without necessarily knowing the specific ones, it's difficult to say definitively.
Do you think we could do another survey after this one so that we could find out what kinds of hardware people have currently and see what is compatible. Because I don't know if you heard too, but there was another question about, you know, like a whole bunch of point of sale hardware that was just purchased 2 years ago. And could some of that be salvaged? So I think that would be good for us to look into to see what we could try to leverage for folks. Would that work, George?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we've got another hand or someone online. Mark, go ahead.
Question on these devices. I assume they're probably running Windows 11 IoT, but will we have access to that level to do things like Office, or are you going to be locked into the software?
They'll actually be running Windows 11 Pro. Yeah, so you'll be able to have other applications on there. So they'll be robust enough. So they won't be locked down necessarily, not IoT, so they'll be Pro.
And so we'll have access to user login, I presume, to Windows itself then. Is that going to be an admin login or is it going to be a user login?
Admin login.
Okay. Thank you.
Are there any other questions in the room?
Not right now.
Okay, great. So this is what we kind of touched on this a little bit. If you're gonna purchase additional POS system or additional hardware, will the price be the same as what OLCC paid? So again, we have this list. We've negotiated prices for the list. It's all contractual at this point. And so everything on the list will be the same today. You know, in the future, it may change. And I think we have another question on that. But yes, the items that we're giving to you are going to be on the list. The prices are on the list, and those have been agreed upon. And like I said, we'll get this list out to you so that you can review it. And this kind of goes along with that as well, discussing the hardware prices and the contract. So we did have in our contract the prices. They were negotiated, they were agreed upon. We do have also in the contract that if they were to change in the future, so with increase to equipment, anything like that, that would have to be negotiated with OLCC. And then we would provide that out to the agents in advance of that. So you know, if you were gonna purchase more software or purchase more hardware, you could do it, you know, before those price negotiations or those prices changed. Like I said, that would have to be negotiated between OLCC and as part of that contract. Part of this, I'm not going to read this whole slide, but one of the things that we want to make sure is that we get the same equipment for each store. And so that's why we're purchasing at least one package for every store so that all of the hardware out there is the same. So uniform hardware, it makes all of the implementation, bug fixing, any of the, the warranty information is all going to be the same. And so this is where, as we roll out, we're going to have this POS out for folks. If you end up needing more, we would encourage people to get that, sooner than later as we kind of roll things out. And it's going to help with all of that continuity between the different hardware systems that are out there. And so more on this to come, but really though, that's why we've got, one big purchase for everybody. And we'll continue to try to make sure we get those out to folks that are from essentially the same batch numbers, the same equipment, same everything that's going out to every store. This is going to help OLCC and US support all of these as well, because essentially they'll all be the same. With this, we touched on this a little bit about how are they going to know how to use it. So we're going to do.
Lisa?
Yeah.
Lisa, we have a follow-up question in the room.
Okay.
I love everything. I'm excited about integration of the credit cards. Going to be awesome, huge. I think part of what the other person's question was addressing the licensee fees going up each year. I have franchises, and when I first started, they were $65 a year, or actually we pay a month, $65 a month. They're now $125 a month. They've skyrocketed the last couple of years. So I think that's what the question was, more of is there some kind of cap or limit or, you know, once you're stuck into the system, the prices were kind of at the whim of, you can't shop around, right, for prices. They raise the price, they raise the price. Is there any kind of price control with that? I think was what her question was.
I believe that license is in our big list that's in the contract, right? Yeah, so that list that we're gonna send out to you has all of the prices that we've agreed to with Mark and Eric and Whitney, who was here. So with them and in our contract with them, these are the prices that we've agreed to. And that extra license that you guys are talking about is a line item in that list. So we'll share that with you and this deck after the meeting. Yeah.
So that's locked in for 9 years.
It is. Now, should we have some like crazy inflation again, we could like have a discussion again about, you know, like, are we willing to raise it to $46? I mean, you know, that could happen. But
Mine's almost doubled.
right. But if that were to ever happen, we would all reconvene like that. It would never be something that would just be pushed upon you guys. So that is up to you because again, we'll be using this system for distilled spirits. If you still wanted to use KMDS for your non-distilled spirits items, you can. So that's up to each agent. Oh, you mean for support. So we'll have support through this new system. So when and we have a slide on it. We'll show you.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Sorry, next question was, how will you know how to use the system? So newest technologies, again, Eric kind of touched on this earlier. There'll be, you know, we'll have video, we'll have pictures, we'll have kind of a standard operating procedure manual. There will also be the ability, you know, if you can look through the manual, we'll also have support for you. So, you know, if you need to call in and talk to a person, we'll be able to help you as well. But there will be a kind of a robust training on how to use it, but then also materials that we can give you. So in situ, if something happens, you can, you know, review the materials, fix the issue. If you can't fix the issue, we'll be there to support you. This is a question about hardware breaking. And so this is a little bit of a complex answer, but so if your hardware breaks, how do you get a new one? Do I have to pay for it? And it kind of depends. So, right, if the equipment itself is faulty in some way, right, and it's not working, we'll be able to replace it under warranty. So there's a different warranty plans out there. We put a couple of them in here. So retail components have a 3-year warranty. Warehouse equipment has 5-year enterprise service plan. So there's different ways that we'll be able to get that to you. The OLCC will also have some back stock of this equipment. So, if something goes down, we can get another unit out to you. Again, we'll have that same equipment, same lot number. It won't be something different than what you're used to. And so you'll be able to do that. If it breaks, by some other issue. So if you drop it or there's a user issue that actually breaks the hardware, the equipment, that's where you may have to pay for the replacement. And that's why I said it's a complex issue on, what actually happened with the hardware, what happened with the equipment. This slide kind of talks about those different things again. So we'll have backstock of this stuff, whether you break it or it gets broken somehow, or if it's under that warranty, we'll be sending you out the same equipment. Most of it's plug and play, probably similar to what you have today. So trying to find, again, that continuity with what we're providing. A lot of it's under warranty. And so we'll be able to replace it. Again, if it's a faulty thing or if something happens with it, that's not the fault of the store or the agent.
We have a question in the chat. We'd like further clarification on reasons for multiple licenses being required for certain users. Why not have one license per store that allows the agent to add users with certain permissions instead of a second license for a store manager?
So what I'd like to propose that we do for that one is I think we need to put together like a comprehensive overview of what that is and what you get and how that's different from the POS users. So if that's okay, Josh, I'd like to take that one away and work on it to give a really good answer. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And then, are there any other questions in the room at all?
Nope.
Okay,
Oh,
so as
yes.
we're kind of.
Wait, sorry. Yes, Cody has one.
So recruiting the online.
Can't.
Portal for online orders from restaurants.
For each store kind of like available to
Would
them.
it be combined with Oregon Liquor Search?
And also on top of that, we've been talking today a lot about like real-time updates with data and everything. Would that also be included on a real-time update with data? Like, for example, if an allocated bourbon comes in on an OLCC shipment and we
Allocated items?
would that be posted on OregonLiquorSearch.com immediately for the public to see? Where like as soon as our order gets delivered, or people are going to be.
All right, I'm gonna stop you because you are asking a lot of questions in one question. So the first one was the question about the portal for licensee orders. Would it be similar to an Oregon Liquor Search? So we do want to have e-commerce like an Oregon Liquor Search in this system. It would be different from your licensee portal. I believe I'm saying that correctly. If I'm wrong, they'll prove me wrong later. And then, but I also believe that they have the ability to hide product from visibility like an allocated item. I remember we talked about that in the RFP.
Based on certain inventory statuses and things like that, yes, it can be configurable to what does and does not show up as inventory on the portal.
Not high.
Hold. Yeah. You're going to want that hand scanner on that barrel.
We have another question in the chat.
I think his question was, if the bars are doing online orders, are they able to see that we actually have the product before they order it?
Oh, right.
Because right now they either call and we say, no, we don't have it, or we email them back saying, no, it's out of stock, not here.
Yeah.
So
Real-time visibility.
Right.
Yep.
Correct. So they will have that. So.
Yes.
Okay.
Unless we're holding it for some other reason. You like that, Grant?
Right.
Correct.
There's a question in the chat. Can you run other applications on the POS?
Can you run
Yes,
other
you can.
applications on the POS? And George says yes.
I don't know why you would, but you can.
I want to kind of get to something that you just said. So likewise, you guys would be able to see real-time inventory in the warehouse. So if we have, you know, some special Halloween gift set that's coming in and you want to buy it, but Oliver just bought all of it, or ordered, I shouldn't say bought. Oliver just ordered all of it. You're going to see that it's, yes. I mean, you may not see that it was all over, but you're going to see that it's not there. And I think that's an issue that we have right now, is that you guys are ordering stuff that's, yeah, you're all ordering the same thing at the same time. So that's going to be eliminated with the new system too.
Yeah.
We didn't hear that one.
Can you override a licensee order? So if one licensee ordered all the Midori, can you tell them, no, you don't get all of it, you get this much instead?
Really, if you want to add it, you can.
And I think I'm hearing the answer is yes, we can do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Julie, do you want to add anything to that? Still there?
You didn't eat lunch.
I did.
Can I comment on that? I'm a new agent. Say there's in the visibility, I see that kind of as a potential issue. You get 3 bottles of whatever it is. That's it. A licensee sees that, orders it. I would want, if I know there's multiple bars that are gonna want that, I would rather give 1 each as opposed to the first one that just logged in or whatever and ordered the 3. I feel like that actually causes a bit of
I
a
think they can go.
conflict because now they're gonna say, I saw 3, I ordered 3, why didn't you get 3? Then I'm gonna have to say, well, I was trying to give the other ones 1 each.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they might not be a fan of that, you know, so now it seems to be a conflict.
That sort of comes in with a fighting.
Holding.
For, you know, if we're posting an order, so I'm not sure if we scan the order as it comes in, it doesn't, or do we have to hit yeah, we've got it all, then post it.
I mean, it won't remove the inventory until you actually like pick it and kind of have it sitting there ready to go and do the transaction. So
I think it's the other way around when it comes in.
when it comes in, it's just reserved. I mean, when it comes in, it's just reserved until you actually do something with the inventory and pick it.
Okay.
Oliver?
So will the licensee be able to log into multiple stores, or will we be able to authorize that store to access our inventory? Because otherwise, I think there's gonna be a lot of poaching,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna be, we've spent years building up our licensee files, our accounts. So I mean, I'm not sure how fair that is.
Right.
That's affecting compensation.
All territory, all of this.
What's the question?
The question is, so right now they've all developed relationships with their licensees.
Yeah.
And so when the licensee goes into the portal to purchase, are they going to see every store, or are they going to see, you know, Jason's store and be like, I'm Jason's customer, I'm going to go to him and order my product?
I mean, most would have like a default store, if you will, that they would see, but you know, they can change the store to see other stores' inventory.
Which they
That's kind of
currently,
how it's being designed
they
right now.
currently can with the.
Liquor search.
You can do that with search.
Yeah.
The baby hinds.
It's not so comprehensive though.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It's gonna be real time information. So
So I think if they did their order at 1 o'clock in the morning and we had 3 Patrons and they bought all 3, we're gonna have to be in there before the store even opens to pull those 3 Patrons, because what if a customer came in and bought one off the shelf and they'd already purchased the 3 in their bar order?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot more work
I'm
on this.
assuming they're not
Yeah.
purchasing them until we actually
Correct.
pull the ring.
Just order on.
they'll go with the computer, they'll go into a kiosk store.
That's right. Just because they order doesn't mean they're guaranteed to get it.
Right.
Please, correct, no?
I'm not gonna fill my bars about this this system.
Can we turn
Call it in.
on or off that online shopping option? Like, just because it's an option, doesn't mean I want my stores place an order for me to pull it. Does that make sense?
Can we opt out of the online ordering portal?
You guys want to allow that or not?
I mean, if you're an agent, I guess, who never does any,
Yeah.
I think we need to discuss this a little more. I think there's a lot of issues that could potentially happen that haven't been discussed.
right? I mean, I guess I'm gonna say like if you never do any licensee orders, that would be a point of discussion. But if you're saying like, I want to do licensee orders, I just don't want to use your portal, I think that's a different discussion.
What I'm saying has to do with licensing orders now. Most of my licensees come in and buy stuff off the shelf. I won't
Oh,
want them necessarily placing an order online and expecting me to pull their order for them. Because we don't get much
Gotcha.
money for licensee sales. I'm not inclined to take one of my purple people up to the side and gather their order for them and have it ready for them and ready with a file for them when they get there.
I will log this question.
I think it should be optional as well. Just, like Jesse Stafford uses a similar system now. And
It
it
should
works for
really
him.
be configurable by licensee
store.
because there's
So
some
I
that
just, I
might
was to
abuse
stop
it.
everyone here. I think this is again one of those things that we need to get some more clarification on. I think Christy's taking some of these questions down. We're not going to solve this today, but I think we can, again, this is one of those areas we can get some more clarification on. We're still developing this as well, so this is one of those areas we can continue to work on and continue to figure stuff out on.
We have another question in the chat. What is the minimum operating system requirement needed to run Microsoft 365? Because some people may have older computers. Is it Windows 11?
George, still on?
George,
Yeah,
are you still on?
I am. Windows 10.
CIO in the room, can I also point out though that Windows 10 is no longer going to be supported by Microsoft beginning October? So just throwing that out there.
We've got a hand raised as well. Michael, go ahead.
My initial question was exactly the same question Oliver had. But to clarify more, if the online system would be, we would have a proprietary login for our bars that would go directly to us, or if it would be just in general and they log in and they can look at anybody and place an order through anybody, which again, I would voice just like everybody else did. I have a huge problem with that. Two, though, in regards to that, is it possible to have third-party software built that would integrate and pull our inventory to utilize our own type of system for bar orders or for possible other management?
Yeah, could you say that question one more time?
Is it possible to integrate with a third-party system that would have a, similar type thing of an ordering system that would, is the data able to integrate or are we just stuck with the system that
Yeah,
you
that's
guys
what I
give
was
us for bars?
Are you thinking like Drizzly?
No, I'm thinking specific to bar customers is what I'm thinking of. But yeah, it would be, I mean, the data would probably transfer the same as it would to like a Drizzly type program.
I'm going to take down that question. But if you know a name of the third party app, and if you want to put it in the chat, that would be helpful just for some context.
No, it was more hypothetical than anything.
Okay.
So thank you.
And then we've got one more hand. Go ahead, Josh.
I was kind of piggybacking off of the bar ordering question, but more in relations to stores putting in their liquor orders. Right now, I put in my order on Thursday, and most stores, because they're in the Portland area, are putting theirs in, I think, on Mondays. And so there's a lot of products that we don't see because they've been taken by other stores. So is there a way that, and I guess that could get out of hand, but like being able to reserve an item by adding it to your order early so it's in your cart essentially, and you can secure, one box for my small store that would be great for me. I don't necessarily need 10 like a Portland store might, but it'd be really great to get a certain product in for my customers. So is there a way that that is like able to be fair across the board?
Great question. I'm writing it down.
Are there any other questions in the room?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Are we going to be able to, for example, if something's out in the warehouse, I know that warehouse is vendor ran more or less, but there's a lot of stuff that runs out in the warehouse. where we have a direct line of communication to reach out and touch a vendor and say, hey, your stuff's out in the warehouse?
Yeah, because they usually don't have.
Well, now they're gonna have their own portal, so they're gonna know
Well,
if they're out.
they probably have a porthole now. But
They
what I'm
don't have a
saying, they
porthole.
don't have any way to see what's in the warehouse. They have to be able
And
to see what's in the warehouse. They also won't
it's
be able
maybe
to
not
see
as
the order.
easy as the new way.
Yeah, it's not as easy, but they do have a method of managing.
But can
That-
we have a direct line of communication to them potentially? Because if you guys aren't gonna reach out to them saying, hey, look, one of your most popular items is out, then I would like the opportunity to reach out and say, hey, look.
We can kind of do that now. You talk to your liquor reps, local liquor reps, and then they
Right.
communicate
if we
that on
have
up.
Correct information that's listed on that's available to us, if we know who is who. But I know we can do that now, but I'm just asking if there's a more direct line of communication through the software.
Probably not from store to vendor,
Okay.
but it'd probably still go through Mark Avent to communicate that.
Understood.
There's another question in the chat. Is there any kind of hardware scanner that comes with the system to receive liquor delivery?
Yes.
I'm gonna ask. Like right now, for the non-alcoholic stuff that we get, we set it up in the system. I'm assuming that capability is still gonna be, it's a new item. And
Yes.
all that, put it on printers and everything.
Yes.
Same with special orders. It may not be in our system yet because we haven't ordered it, but there's a liquor number. So when we put add new item and it goes in the system, we're still be able to do that for special orders.
You'll be able to add items and manage prices and all that good stuff in the new system for the non-distilled spirits items.
Well, I'm talking even on the liquor side.
And you won't be able to add a distilled spirit item, but you'll be able
If it's
to.
a special order, it's not in our system. It's this.
Yeah, so-
It's gonna be in your system.
Yeah.
If it comes from this warehouse, it'll be in your system. Right, but we're gonna be all connected.
It's like a lot of times mezcal is a good example of this. A lot of reps will come to us and there's a certain batch that's in Mexico that they're trying to get to Oregon. And it hasn't been assigned an OLCC number yet. And so like right now, when we go through OLAFs to put in a special order request, we have a little note section there where we put like what distributor, what family distilled it, whatever. But there's no OLCC number, but that's the information we need to give you guys to pass it along to source it.
Right.
Will this POS system be able to do something similar?
Yes.
Okay.
You just won't be able to create that
Right.
item.
Wouldn't be able to like read it up or create a price for it. Like, it'll still recognize it as being able to start. This.
And then once Mark and Jen source it and they put it into the system, then that code is gonna be in your point of sale system.
Cam,
Uh-huh. I don't know. I think that is, yeah. Oh, look at Eric go.
Robin?
Items. Three items, but not all of the ones that are in the state of Oregon, so I also don't want all maybe the mezcals that I don't care about. I don't want them to show up in my system where people are like searching for something. How will that be? Is that gonna be like, oh, you never sold it, or you didn't sell it in 2 years, or you didn't activate it? I don't know what that would mean, right? Or also there's a lot of, discontinued items out there. Obviously, we probably don't carry those over into the new system, but something that I don't know if that has been thought about yet.
Are you talking just an item master in general or more like inventory?
Mostly the master, right? So
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, the full item master would get pushed down to the point of sale. It would be there. You could look it up. You could see it.
Even if I don't, right? Like I said, I don't want maybe, all those mezcal, they just clutter.
Then don't order it.
Yeah, I mean, you'd see.
You
that.
wouldn't, it still,
Show up in my.
It will.
Right? If they
Yeah.
search like, oh, I'm looking for this, and it's like 7 different varieties, or like every year there's a new one. It's like, oh, now I'm year 27. Like, great, which one do I
Yeah.
want, right? So I know, and also I take the discontinue ones, right? They will also be removed. And right now, right, once there's an item code, it's KMDS live on there forever.
And there'd be a process to remove it. I'll let Brian and like talk to what that is, but once it's like delisted and no longer used, then it would get removed out of the item master and next refresh would get.
I have a clarifying question. So there's the item master list gets used for when he orders from us, right? And we want him to be able to see the full list of everything. So he has the option to order from us in case one day you're like, I love mezcal. And then, but at the same point, then if he's going to like search an item in his point of sale for a customer, he doesn't want to see all those mezcals in there because he's only going to see what's in his store at that point, right?
Well, two things. One, from an item master perspective, you're gonna see the same item master and like what you order is the same item master in the point of sale. If you had inventory for it, then you would see it having inventory in the store. But
Okay.
like if you have no inventory, it's still in the item master.
like in his example, in his view,
Yeah,
could he hide a category so it doesn't appear to him when he logs in?
Filter.
Filter and hide a
that's
category?
that's a you guys' decision on if you want to.
Well, I know
change
Brian
that
went
right
through
now. We've
some of those.
got one category for all items getting sent to the point of sale currently. So if you wanted to hide that and alter that, obviously the capability and functionality is there, but that'd be your guys' call.
All right, I'm taking note.
Yeah, I think
We're
Brian,
basically saying like, there's 30 mezcals, existence, and you only have 2. You don't really want to see the other 28.
Yeah, my POS.
So if you do a search to sell one, you don't want 30 mezcals.
Let's say
You
like
want
then
the
I
2.
want to add one. Right, I was like, okay, I actually want this one. The sales rep convinced me I'm gonna get this mezcal. Then I was like, okay, let me add this one. I know the item code, right? And then it will pop up in my activator, like added or whatever, right? So I don't carry, 10,000 items in my daily, item.
we'll get that question clarified because we just went through a purchase order session and there was some capability, so we'll probably want to get with Brian on that question.
Okay, I'm just texting myself
Oh,
all the
perfect.
questions.
We have another question.
All right, take some cookies. Oh, dang it.
We have a question
We've
in
got
the room.
another hand raised as well, Michael. You've got your hand up.
Yeah, so currently, when something's like low stock, like take Crown Royal, for instance, when it's low, you guys will either at supplier request or yourselves just put a limit on it for each order so that it doesn't get, so that everybody can get some. But currently that's, if it's 2 cases, it's 2 cases for everybody. Does this system have the capability of you to change that so that it was based on volume? So say, a store that only sells 1 case a month wouldn't be able to get 1 case a week, but a store that sells 30 cases a month would be able to get, say 5 cases a week. Is that possible? And then also, is that something that you guys look to do?
It is possible.
I believe from the OLCC perspective, like Eric said, it's possible, but at this time, I don't think it's something that we're looking at doing. But I think it's a good question that we can definitely contemplate. One of the reasons, we looked at it kind of across the board, right? But yeah, I appreciate the question.
And we have
Thank
another
you.
question in the room.
Angela? Yes. Don't know.
I don't, Julie, are you still on?
We're not able to hear that question.
Oh, can they prevent people from clocking in too early? Julie, are you still on?
Yes, I am on, and I do not believe that there are set times for clock in. The system just manages the time that they check the box or essentially clock in.
So it sounds like there'll be like a timestamp, so you'll be able to see when they clock in order to manage that, if you needed to.
System have all the same reports.
Is there another question in the room?
There is. Will the system have the same reports that KMDS has? And so I'll try to hit reports because not only are we going to have some canned reports that are coming out from them, but we are also investing into Power BI as an agency. And we're going to be pulling all of the data into what's called a data lake and trying to be able to do some more reports too. But you guys are going to have reports through these guys. And so, I think if you have a list of reports that you want to get, if you want to send that to your DM and make sure that we get them on the list.
No.
It would probably be better if we got it from one of you guys, if you have the list.
Accurate. Is there another question?
There is.
Questions in the room, and we've also got 2 or 3 in the chat.
Like,
Hire more personnel.
yeah, and we're going to have more discussion about that on the Accenture OLCC side too. So the question was, if we allow e-commerce from the public customer to buy online, pick up in store, can folks have the option to turn that off because they don't want that option?
Especially during peak hours.
Yeah.
Maybe a minimum. Can't line up of
Right.
20 different single bottles of Christian Brothers half pint.
That's in Leviticus.
And then they don't pick it up.
Right.
Pick it up.
Okay, one of the chat questions.
So yeah, I'll go ahead. Yep, I'll go ahead, Connie. So one of the questions that came up is, can ID driver's license be scanned for age verification? And we are not providing that. So we want to ensure that age verification happens with the actual ID. So we don't have an age verification device that we'll be giving out. It's important that each agent checks IDs, and each one of your your clerks or your folks, your employees check IDs with the physical ID. So we will not have a scanner providing for that in particular.
Oliver has a question.
Can that be an option for stores? Accenture ID verification. I know I've heard and understand that they provide that kind of a technology. But could that be an option?
They do. I think what I'd like to do is get our public safety team to have a bigger discussion. Because I think Rich attends the quarterly meeting. That would be a good discussion with him, because one of the reasons why we decided not to provide those is because those overseas IDs, those fake IDs, like the McLovin IDs, they scan. And that doesn't give you guys any protection by having, someone who, someone who is a 14-year-old boy could take my ID and it would scan. So if you're not looking at the ID, that's sort of the point there, is that we really need to be looking at the ID and making sure that we're getting the good ID check. So what I would propose is that we bring this up with Rich in one of those agent meetings, and maybe do some training. But I will put down your question. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just saying I want to make sure that you have the best options.
That device was initially.
And really, I was
Go
gonna say,
ahead,
really, any age verification scanner, if you do get a third party one, it should still be used as a secondary tool. It shouldn't be the primary source of that information. To Christy's point, IDs are changing so quickly. Even those age verification tools, can't keep up. And so even at that point, it would have to be the secondary tool, not your primary verification.
Can I add to that? I was at the airport, I don't know how expensive that is, but you put the ID on a screen, there's a camera facing you. And I don't know if it snaps a picture, or if it looks, and it facial recognition, and it compares to the picture of the ID. I've ID'd people that, is it their brother, is it their cousin, or, it can be difficult. So additional technology would be nice. That might be way too expensive.
That is very expensive.
That would be awesome. If they're young, maybe they don't even they see that device, they just leave.
Yeah.
Because they don't want their picture taken.
It was gonna cost like $27 million a year for that technology.
Yes.
Paperless, right? And basically, almost everything is going to be able to do paperless. The only part I probably guess is around bank deposits. We still have to put out little slips, send it into a couple of different areas to make sure they all match up. Or is there a way that might have been able to figure that part out?
Angie's not here anymore.
We don't have Angie here, but
We're still in discussion of how to do that.
Yeah.
We didn't hear that question.
will bank deposits be paperless?
Oh, yes. I don't know, but ideally. Is there another question in the room?
No, there's still one more in the chat.
And then my last question.
Yes.
Sorry, we can't hear the room.
Price tags.
We look at, I think it's our responsibility to print out all the price tags for end of month, price changes, or maybe even during the month, who knows? So, last time it was like 700 tags at my store, and I don't know, items maybe, but 700 tags, that roll of price tags is not cheap, right? So I don't know how that would work if we just.
Are you paying for it? If we have to print.
They're gonna be part of a supply order. You can order with your liquor order for those supplies. We'll have it in the
We didn't hear the
warehouse.
question.
Who's paying for the price tags, the changes, the price changes? Who's paying for those tags?
Yes. Hey, Lisa.
Yeah.
I think we're good to go. Did we discuss
No,
FAQ number 7?
Nope, but there's a couple, we did 7. I'm gonna go to the next one because I think it's the last one, and then there's 2 in the chat. So just so I can get through the deck to get to the end. So this was about the Wi-Fi. So we talked about doing the Wi-Fi survey. So if your store does need upgraded Wi-Fi or doesn't have Wi-Fi capabilities today, it will be the responsibility of the agent to do that. And I believe, and then this is the final question. So this was a question that, will the agents be charged a fee to use the POS system? So we're aware that some folks are charged a fee today to use the KMDS system or other systems. We're looking at this. We don't have an update on this today. I'll be reaching out to the Department of Justice to make sure that we have a good answer to this and that we're following appropriate rules for this. So there'll be more information on this to come as well. The goal here, though, would be to not, be charging you more than what you're charging now or what you're paying now. Or, if we can provide it, we will. So we'll have more, again, there's a lot of questions that came up today, but we'll have more information on this one as well. I believe that's the end. So I'm going to go to the chat questions. There was one about special delivery or specials. So the question was, will we be able to see a delivery timeline for special order items before ordering or even after ordering? Some customers no longer want a product because it took a year to get into the store, and then the store essentially is stuck with it. Eric, do you know the answer to this one, or
Julie?
maybe Julie?
I do not have an answer for that one. I guess it all depends on if OLCC approves the item and then how soon that they can get it into stock to fulfill that order.
Yeah, and some of this is also dependent on the supplier, right? So if OLCC requests a product, the supplier may not be able to get it to us within a certain amount of time. And so it sounds like we need some more, just some more details on this one as well. And then the other question was, if you have issues with the new system, who's going to be providing help resolving issues that may come up? And is there going to be a certain time for help as sometimes issues come up during the weekends? And so OLCC will be providing a help desk or call in so that we are going to be covering hours of operation over the weekend as well. So that, you know, if there is a situation, you can call into this help desk. The goal then would be also to make sure that we have the appropriate people on that call to be able to answer those questions. So that's something that we're putting together right now so that we'll be able to assist in the future so that you can call into and get a human that can help you troubleshoot your issue.
Robin?
Sorry, last question. One part, probably yes or no, or easy question around fintech, like that will just be how we have it now, right? You can set the system that's licensees on fintech and they will run that part. We don't have to, but it will work. Right. Also, that's also, yes, on the licensee ones. So there will be just, right now we have to through KMDS, I think other systems, we have to update our licensee list. Right. Sometimes new licensees are not in the system yet, or the data is not there yet. Sometimes that gives some issues that will just be fully integrated anyway, so that shouldn't be a big issue. Hopefully we'll also have a flag saying might be a cash only club, so we don't have to worry about that part either. I don't know if you've heard about what that means, but
No, but there
It's
will
part of
be
the development, yeah.
There is an integration to the licensing system that feeds the ERP, which also feeds down to the point of sale. So as new licenses come in, they get automatically pushed down to the point of sale. So it will be updated as often as that job runs, whether that's daily, hourly, whatever, we'll figure out that timing, but there is an integration to get that data into point of sale.
Lisa, did you want to put the final question or do you want me to?
It's a statement.
Oh, a question in the room.
Is there any way to supply each store with at least 2 POS systems? Or has this already been approved and set by budget?
So think about a store in Christmas Valley that has just one aisle of liquor. They wouldn't need 2 point of sale systems. And I'd say maybe just wait, because Brian and I were kind of looking at each other. So he has a list that he's kind of working on. So maybe let us, I'm going to write it down, but let us rework that list and share it out. Because I don't think there was any store in the Portland metro area that was just getting one set.
No.
I think it was those more rural stores that are the hardware, pharmacies, those kinds of stores that are just getting one.
Get at least one. Get at least one.
Right.
No.
Say we decide, you know what, I'm not gonna spend the money after I spent all this other money previously to purchase another one that affects our customer service. And anything that negatively affects customer service reflects badly, not just on us, but the OLCC. All of our livelihoods are pretty darn dependent on the system being the way it is. And we don't want to give any customer the reason to say, hey, 2026, that initiative on the ballot that says, let's get rid of the OLCC and change the system. I don't want to give them any fodder. So that's just my 2 cents there. Don't help us as agents give even better service. Let's not decrease it.
Agreed. That is the goal. Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you, first of all, for coming in and having all of these great comments. I mean, we want to hear this stuff from you. So I'm, like I said, texting myself all of these little messages. So, but yeah, thank you for coming in and sharing your opinion. I mean, everybody who came in, everybody who's online. Yeah, we're doing this for us, for the industry. So
I would also invite everyone, either online or, if you came today, we are having the agent advisory meetings every month now again. And so we don't have one this month, but we will have one again in June. That's a great place for these discussions, this communication. So if you have questions you didn't get asked today or talk to others, invite them to that meeting as well. So that can be an open communication forum for this as well. We've got some questions that we're going to need to get answers to, and I just want to encourage y'all to attend those so that we can get this communication back out to you. And I do appreciate everyone's participation today. I know we went quite longer than expected, but it's a big deal for OLCC. It's a big deal for you guys. We want to be good partners with you. And so just really appreciate the participation today.
Lisa, there was one final question in the chat. Did you want to address that?
From
Mark Gomez.
Sorry. Okay, so Mark is asking, who should I contact regarding integration between this system and our existing one for other stores? I would say probably reach out to your DM first, right? And just we can kind of take it from there. If you have specific questions, and this is really for any of you agents, if you have specific questions, get them to your DM and we'll make sure we get those addressed. As far as your contact, if you have, I don't know who your vendor is today, but we'll need your data. And so that's, I think, part of this question.
Mm-hmm. Oh, one more question in the room.
One more last. So will we be able to see sell-through on other stores on specific times? We'll be able to drill down and say like, well, how many bottles of this did so
On
stores?
your own stores.
No, on other stores. Like, so I can see the sell-through on other stores, so I can drill down and see sales information on your products.
I don't think so. I think you're only gonna have visibility into your store sales.
We can see a snapshot of anybody's store now.
How are you looking that up?
Liquor search.
Oh.
But I mean, I'd like to see how many. It would be good to see what's like if something's selling really good in my area. I'd want to know about it so I can probably pull it in also.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be able to see the top sellers on. When I look at somebody's store and say what's the top sales on the store right down my street, so I can capitalize on what's going on in my neighborhood. But that's I don't know if Apple doesn't have one. If it does,
yeah, sure.
That's not
I think it was.
The point of sale.
Yeah.
And drill down into.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because in their agent dashboard, don't they get like recommendations of products that are selling well and restock suggestions?
There's like reports and KPIs and things that'll be there.
So most likely that'll be accessible.
Yeah.
Yes, we had asked for it.
Capacity.
Yeah.
Because it would be really nice if I saw that Oliver was selling the heck out of a product and I didn't even know about that product, I'd be like, hey, we need to get that product over here. It increases overall sales.
And that's why Oliver doesn't want you to see it.
All right, that's it.
You guys want me to see it because that just makes everybody's customer service better.
Right.
All right. Well, keep the questions coming. You guys have my brain in overdrive. So this is awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all. Make sure you get a cookie, some swag.
Yes.
Okay.
Oliver.
Thanks all. Appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.